Well, hello everyone. Welcome to day 2. We are back. It's day 2 of It Should Be Working By Now, the masterclass. My name is Shani Leatham. I'm a transformation specialist and a wealth identity mentor, and I'm your educator. I'm your host for today, and I'm very, very, very excited to be with you right now to go through and teach you, part 2 of this. It's actually been, oh my goodness, I don't even know. It's been a wild 24 hours. There have been a lot of DMs. There have been a lot of questions. I'm very pleased for you all. And I'm excited to help you go through this next section. Yesterday, we talked a lot about seeing it and understanding it. And today, we're going to take it one step further. So I just love this. I just love this. So, welcome. I'm just making sure that everybody is on and you can actually see me. First of all, if you were not here yesterday and you did not get the opportunity to see day 1 and all that was discussed, taught, learned, saw, heard, I invite you to go to my YouTube channel and check it out. The replay lives there. It will be there in perpetuity, forever and ever. Amen. Okay. If you did watch it, then you already know, okay? And so I am glad that you're actually back today because we've got a lot to go through. I believe I even went overtime yesterday. There was so much. I believe I even went overtime. So I'm really, really glad that you're back today. As I always do with all of my workshops, all of my masterclasses, I always like to pray over it. I begin every masterclass with a prayer. So I'm just going to quickly begin and then we are going to jump right into it, okay? Dear Lord, thank you so much for having us here together. As we were yesterday, please open up the minds and the hearts of those who are here to listen and to learn. I ask you to speak through my vocal cords and think through my mind. None of me and all of you. And it's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen. Okay, let's go. Day 2. Okay, because if we are being honest, yesterday, and my voice was like sore. Yesterday probably had you looking at yourself a little bit differently if you paid attention, okay? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean like I can't unsee what I just learned. I can't unsee it kind of way, okay? If you really paid attention, that's where you should be at this moment. And you likely started to notice like little things almost immediately after we ended our live yesterday, okay? Maybe you caught yourself checking. We talked about that. Maybe you caught yourself thinking something. Maybe you think, okay, what? And then immediately you went to, wait a second. Maybe, did you notice how fast your brain tried to jump in and figure out a solution? How quickly it tried to jump in and like fix something or figure it out? Because that's the point of the brain. It's to solve the problem, but it's almost immediate. We don't recognize how quickly it happens. And if that did happen to you, if you did experience that, good. Very, very good, because that means that you're actually now seeing what's been running in the background, running the show this whole time, okay? Now, day 1 of the masterclass answered the question, why isn't this working? Why isn't it working yet? Okay, that's the question we had. You saw the same patterns. You saw the loop. We talked about the loop a lot yesterday. In fact, we talked about the loop more than anything. Okay, more than anything. And you saw the version of you that keeps getting rehearsed, that keeps getting repeated. You saw that, okay? So now, as of today, if you were on yesterday, you should not be confused anymore. Okay, there should be no confusion. There's no guessing anymore. There's no trying random things, hoping that something will click. Okay, we know exactly what's been happening. Which brings us to today. And this is what I'm excited about, because the question now is, how do I actually change? How do I actually change this and make it stick? That's what you want to know now. How do I actually change this and make this stick? I don't want it to stick for a few hours or for just a day. I want this to be habitual. Let's make this stick habitually, okay? So when it's quiet, when there's no momentum, when it's inconvenient, when your old reactions are about to like come right back in, when they're right there and they're ready to go, how do you make it stick? And so that's what today is all about. I typically ask you guys to get a pen and a paper so you can write some things down. I'm going to ask you to have one today because there's going to be some questions that might pop up for you. You might want to write them down, okay? Also, as you're watching, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from. Feel free to say hi. Hi, Kevin, you're back. Welcome back. Let me know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, please, by all means, go ahead and put them in the comments. Or if you want to send me a message afterward, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, I'm going to make sure that if you want to book a consult call with me, you're able to do so. I will put the link for that in our comments in a moment. Done. Okay, good. So again, this is what today is all about. All right. And I really want to set this expectation clearly. I want you to know this is what I expect for you, and this is what you should expect. Today's not about giving you a list of things to try. Okay? It's not about giving you a list to try. It's about getting you to change how you operate in real time. So that what we talked about yesterday, it doesn't just stay as awareness, okay? It doesn't just stay as knowledge, and it doesn't just stay as information. It becomes something that you live in, something that you move from, something that is natural to you. Because without awareness, or because awareness without follow through, how do I want to say that? Awareness without follow through just turns into frustration. That's what I want to say. So if you can see something, you know how it is, and you don't do it, you don't do what you're meant to do, you're going to be frustrated with yourself. You're not going to be pleased with yourself. You're going to be so upset that you're still getting the same results over and over and over again when you clearly now know what to do. And I'm not interested in that for you. I'm just not. Like I said yesterday, if I've done my job correctly, and I always do my job correctly, you're going to feel a shift. Okay? You're going to feel a shift in how you move. What do I mean by that? You're going to notice yourself responding differently while it's happening. So it's not going to be one of those things, well, oh, wait a minute, I just did that. No. While it's happening, in the moment, you're going to feel it, okay? You're going to feel less of a pull by those automatic responses, by those automatic reactions. You're going to feel more steady. You're going to feel more steady in your decisions. And the things that used to throw you off, they're not going to hit the same way. Because you're already aware of new things and you're starting to feel different things. And yes, we're going to talk about money too. That's a very important part about all of this. Okay? How you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, who you believe yourself to be, that is, and the amount of money that you make is all related. From Nairobi, welcome, Chris. Welcome. Okay? So this is not just going to be something that's real. Like, I want this to be super obvious for you. So not just, I want more money. Great, everybody wants more money. It's not going to be just that, but it's going to be, why hasn't it come in consistently yet? Why does money come in waves? Like, you think about waves in the water. It comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. Why, when you feel good, or why do you feel good when it's there and you feel different when it's not there? Right? How can you keep your temperament the same? We're going to clean that up. We're absolutely going to clean that up so that money doesn't feel like something that you're managing. I don't want it to feel like that, but something that actually matches you, okay? Because right now, again, the amount of money you make is related to how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, and the things that you do. It matches who you are right now. So do we need to create a new wealth identity? That's something that I help mentor inside of our programs. Okay, now let's get into this first piece, because if you try to change your behavior without this, you're going to end up right back where you were. So I want to talk about the standards that you're living by. So let's take this one step further. Up until now, we've been looking at what you do. We've been looking at how you react. We've been looking at what you go back to. Yes? But underneath all of that, there's something driving it. And it's not random. It's the story that you keep telling yourself about who you are and how things work for you. And we're all telling ourselves stories, whether they're empowering stories or limiting stories, whether they're, as I tell the young students that I work with, the green stories or the red stories. Yes? It's not the one that you say out loud, but it's the one that you think. It's the story that you feel. You physically feel the story. It shows up in your body, in your physiology, okay? It's the one that shows up in real time. It's the one that fills in the blank when something hasn't happened yet. Those stories. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say, and since we want to talk about money, okay? Let's say you set a particular income goal. Let's say you decide you're going to do $20,000 this month. Okay, we're in the middle of April, but let's $20,000 this month, okay? So you say it. You write it down. This is your goal. You feel really excited about it. You probably have even broken it down to what it is per day. So $645-ish per day, okay? And you make it small so that it's palatable, so that you can accept it, so it feels more achievable to you, right? And then you go off to work. You go and do the thing that you need to do so that you can bring in that $20,000 month or those $645 days, yeah? And then a few days go by, and that's fine. And you're sitting there and you've probably earned about $3,200. This is just a scenario. You've got about $3,200. Good, respectable. But yet, because we live in a microwave society and we want things to come just like this, we're not pleased with that $3,200. So even though nothing has gone wrong, our brain is still trying to fix the situation. It starts filling in the gap. Wait a minute, I'm only at $3,200. How do I get to $20,000? Even though you're doing exactly what you need to be doing, even though you're showing up in the way that you need to be showing up, okay? And then you start saying to yourself, I'm behind. I'm so behind. I'm so behind. I gotta catch up. It's like that rabbit from Alice in Wonderland who had his stopwatch, and he's like, I'm late, and he's running, I'm late, and you're not late, and you're not behind, but you're telling yourself a story. Or you tell yourself, this always happens. This always happens. I start strong, and then it slows down. I have momentum, and then I slow it down. Something happens. I probably need to push harder. And that's that's a story. It's a story that you're telling yourself, and it sounds like a fact, but there's nothing factual about it. It's a story, and it really sounds like you're just being honest. This is where I need to be. But what you're actually doing is reinforcing the identity that says, I'm someone who can't hold momentum. You're reinforcing the identity of someone who has to work really, really hard just to catch up. You're reinforcing the identity of someone who struggles to make money. Or someone who things take a long time before they manifest. You're reinforcing that identity. And once that story is active, every decision you make from there starts to match it. It starts to match it. And so you start to go and post things online with a little more urgency. Gotta go, put it out there. Yeah? And you start to really, really micromanage your numbers. Okay? You're looking at them really, really closely. And you feel pressure. You feel pressure to make things happen. Now, we know that pressure bursts pipes and pressure makes diamonds. Okay? But pressure on us never usually produces the fruit that we want it to produce. But we operate from pressure. Okay? So it's the same pattern, but at a new level, because now we've decided $20,000, we're up here, we're at a new level. So I want to make this even more real, a little more relatable for you. Okay? Let's say you're about to enroll in something that could genuinely move you forward. You've been thinking about it for a while. You've been seeing how it could help you in your life. You know it's going to help. You know you're ready to enroll in whatever this thing is that you're going to enroll in, okay? And right before you click pay on your laptop or on your phone or whatever, a thought shows up. A thought shows up, and the thought is, well, big investments never usually work out for me. Because if you're enrolling in something, and chances are it's a big investment. Big investments never usually work out for me. I always kind of regret spending this kind of money. Am I sure that I'm going to get from it what I said I was going to get from it, what I'm hoping for? Should I be spending this kind of money right now? The economy's pretty bad. So maybe I should be waiting, you know? Maybe I need to calm down. Maybe I need to wait for things to calm or to settle down. And then you pause, right? And I need you to understand, this has got nothing to do with the program. It's, again, a story that you've practiced. It's just manifesting in this way. And that story is attached to another identity. What identity is attached to? I'm someone who has to be careful. I'm someone who can't fully trust my decisions yet. That one's hard, right? I'm someone who doesn't deserve good things, and you do. Or I'm someone who might lose instead of gain. And this is a story. And so even though you're ready, even though you've made the decision to enroll and to move forward and to change your life in that way, whatever the program is, that story pulls you back to the version of you who hesitates. And now the decision doesn't feel quite so clear anymore, does it? It feels pretty heavy and feels like a little bit of or a lot of a risk. You know, feels really, really uncertain, unsure. And so the same thing shows up in your business. Maybe you all have a business that you run outside of your work. You know that you're good at what you do. You've chosen to do this business because A, B, and C reason. You want to provide some type of solution to someone. You know that you are the answer to somebody's prayers. You know that you are the answer to somebody's problem. You can solve the problem for them. You've helped people before. You've seen the results. You know this, but then you say, okay, you know what? It's time. I'm going to raise my prices. And that's a wise thing to do. You should be raising your prices. You are valuable. What you offer is valuable. But then as you decide to raise your prices, another story kicks in, doesn't it? Almost inevitably, because that's what our brain does. You say, what if people don't see the value? What if they see it only at the price that it is now, but they don't see the value when it's higher? What if nobody buys at this level? What if I lose the clients that I already have? And now suddenly, you're not moving as the expert that you actually are. And you're an expert at this, whatever it is. You're moving as somebody who's hoping that people agree with them. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that works? Okay? And it's not your actions that are the issue. It's got nothing to do with what you're doing. It's the story that you're telling yourself, the story that's underneath those issues or actions. It's who you are being while you are doing what you're doing. That's the problem. And so if you can understand this, life will be so much easier, okay? And it's going to be so much more fulfilling if you can understand this particular thing. You can create a new story. There I said it. You can create a new story. You don't have to wait for that story to be true. You don't have to wait for it to feel true yet. You can live from this place. We used to do it all the time as children. We used our imaginations and we created these scenarios where we were playing with certain things and we were running away from the robot and we were cowboys and we were, I don't know what we were on stage. We were doing all of these things. We used our imagination for good and we embodied it and we showed up as it. It was like we were method acting. We became that. And that was the story that we told ourselves, and that was it. When my daughter was 2 years old, she decided to adopt a new name, and she would not answer to any other name except Queen Elizabeth. Okay? And so she decided she was Queen Elizabeth, and I'd say her name, and I'd call her, and I'd call her, and I'd call her. I'd be standing or sitting right next to her. She's right here, and I'd say her name, and she'd turn her head. And then I'd say, Queen Elizabeth, and she'd say yes. She created a story. She created an identity. And she was like all up in it. So if we can do that at that age, we need to remember as adults, we can continue to do that now. Okay? So you can decide which story that you're living from. It's literally all on you. Nobody can affect you with that. Nobody can create the story for you. You can decide which story you're living from and decide that you're living from it already. Start moving as if it's already yours. Okay? As if it's already yours. When I decided that I was going to be a wealthy woman, and it was a decision, it wasn't just happenstance. I decided I was going to be a wealthy woman. I had to take on the persona of a wealthy woman, what that looked like to me. And so every thought and every action and every belief and everything that I did, even how I presented myself to the world, was that of a wealthy woman, according to me. And then I started doing things, started connecting with people in a certain way. And I was getting opportunities to speak, and I was getting opportunities to teach, and I was getting more coaching clients, and I was mentoring more. And all of these things kept happening, and money started coming in because I started showing up as the person who had what I wanted. I told myself a story and I lived from that story. I was the character. It was the main character in my story. So you need to do that. So instead of saying my goal is so far away, your story then becomes, I close strong. I've got this. I got this. I always do well. I always do what I need to. Okay? Instead of I need to be careful or I need to be cautious or maybe I shouldn't spend money right now because ... fill in the blank. Because we've all come up with that. Maybe it's so hard for me to make money. Where I live, my connections, there's not enough this, there's not enough that. The story then becomes, I make powerful decisions. I make powerful decisions and they work for me. Okay? Or this is designed to help me. And so you move with that mindset because this is designed to help me. Instead of the idea of nobody buys from me. I have all of these products or these services. What if no one buys? Then your story becomes, people want what I offer. People want what I offer. The right ones will always say yes. Or I only attract people who will pay. I only attract paying clients, paying customers. That's it. Okay? And just so we're clear, you're not just saying this to yourself to convince yourself. We're not doing that. You're choosing this because you now understand that the story you return to is the version of you that you keep recreating. The story that you return to is the version of you that you keep recreating, and you're creating new neural pathways. You're solidifying things in your brain, and your brain will accept that as normal. Okay? But if you decide that this is who I am now, and you hold that line, your decisions start to change, and your reactions start to change, and what you tolerate changes. And that's when things begin to actually move. That's when you start to see the progress. That's what we want. And it's not because you forced anything, because you didn't. It's because you stopped feeding the version of you who's keeping everything the same. So here's the question, and I want you to sit with this. You don't have to answer in the comments. I just want you to sit with this, okay? When things are unclear, when there's no immediate proof, there's no evidence, when your brain starts to fill in the gaps, what story do you go to? Okay? What story do you go to? Because that's the answer that's been running your results. Whatever the answer is, that's running your results. And once you see that, you can choose something different. You can absolutely choose something different. So I want to lock this in, okay? I want to lock this in so this is not something that you just think about. I want you to live with this. Okay? So this would be the part where things either come together for you, if you're paying attention and if you're willing, or you're going to go right back to doing what you've always done. The choice is literally yours, because now that you know, you can't unknow. Now that you've seen, you cannot unseen. Now that you have this information, you can choose to improve your life, to elevate your life, to elevate your circumstances, or you can choose to stay the same and then blame it on the rain. Okay? Right now you get it. I know you do. You see your patterns. You catch yourself. You can decide who you are and how you move, but this is the real question. The real question is, do you actually live this way when no one is watching? Okay? When nothing is happening yet. When it would be easier to go back, do you live this way? Do you actually live this way? And that is the line, that is the baseline now. And this is where your results are decided. So I know people think that it's strategy. It's about doing the thing. This is internal work. This is internal work that will change your external situation, that will change your external results. Because it is easy to feel powerful when you're at this event. Okay? And it's easy to feel certain when you just had a breakthrough, isn't it? And it's easy to say, this is who I am now, when everything feels like it's in alignment. It's completely easy. But later tonight or tomorrow, when you check those results again and they're small, and when you go live online, you've decided to go live and only 5 people show up, 5 people are watching, right? And when you look at your account and nothing has changed yet, and when you put something out there and there's no immediate response, that's where it either becomes real or it becomes something that you visited. You visited it for a couple of hours. And I'm really not interested in you visiting this. When I come on and I do these workshops, it's because I would love to give you real change. I want you to step into yourself and affect real change for yourself. It's absolutely possible. Whatever life you want to have, you can have. You are literally capable of anything. You have dominion over this earth. It was not given to you by me, it was given to you by him. Anything and everything is possible and it's available to you. Do you choose it or not? That is the question. Okay? And so I want you living in this space. And I want you to want to live in this space. And living here, it requires something that a lot of people avoid. A lot of people avoid. And that's consistency. Consistency when it's boring. Consistency when it's quiet. Consistency when you're tired. Consistency when you're pissed off and somebody got in your way and somebody changed your mood, or the kids wasted your money and didn't eat their food at lunch. You know, consistency when your brain is ready to just go and tell you something and it's offering you every old story, every old possible story that it can come up with, just to pull you back in. Because those are the moments that build this. Not those big moments, but the small ones, the repeatable ones. Okay? And the truth is, and this is a truth that most people don't like to hear, is that doing this on your own consistently while your old habits are strong, that's where most people fall off. And it's not that the attempt isn't there or the desire isn't there, and it's not that they don't understand, but it's because life keeps happening. Life keeps on lifing, right? So you get busy with work or you get busy with your family commitments, and that's fine. And you get distracted by all the side quests and all the signs and all that's going on in the world. Like, look at the current events right now. How can you not be distracted by that? And you have a day where something feels off. And again, somebody gets on your nerves and somebody at work doesn't do what they need to do, or they lie on your name. They throw you off. Things feel off. Maybe you get sick. Maybe you're worried about something that hasn't happened yet and you've dipped into a state of anxiety, or you're thinking about the past and so you fall into a state of depression. Maybe you slip into an old reaction without even realizing it. And then a few days go by. A few days go by and you're like, wait, What happened? What just happened? When did this happen? You didn't lose it, okay? You didn't lose it. You just didn't hold on to this long enough. And so when I say it's hard for a lot of people to stay consistent, it's because you have all of these things that are being thrown at you, all of these balls that have to be juggled. This is our human experience. It's our human experience. And this is why so many people feel like they're always starting over. I don't care how successful you are in your life. Even the most successful people, the wealthiest people, feel like they're always starting over if they don't know how to stay in a state of consistency. They have the awareness. Of course they have the awareness. They have the moments. They even have the right decisions. But they don't have the consistency, nor do they have the identity to stick with it, to make it stick. And that's the difference between someone who knows what to do and someone who actually lives it. And so this is part of what we mentor you in our coaching programs, okay? Within our coaching programs. So if you're sitting here right now thinking, okay, I get this. I can do this. I agree with you. You can. I know you can. But the better question is, will you keep doing it when the new feeling stops? Will you keep doing it when it's just you and your patterns? Will you keep doing it when nothing is forcing you to stay in it? The will to do it. It's not about your ability. You are able, but the will to do it. Will you do it? Because that's the part that changes your results. And so it's also the part where having the right environment and the right support and the right level of accountability makes all the difference. It makes all the difference in the world. Because you're not just doing this alone in your head, right? Whoever's talking up there with you, you're not just doing this alone in your head and trying to catch every moment by yourself. You're being held to a standard. You're being held to the standard you said you wanted to live by. You said you wanted to live by. And that's what collapses time between where you are and where you want to be or where you're meant to be. And so now you get to decide. Isn't that brilliant? It's really all you. You get to decide. Are you going to keep visiting the version of you, this version of you? Or are you actually ready to live as the new version? That's what I want you to answer, okay? To yourself. Okay. So now let's talk about that particular decision, okay? I don't mean from the place of, I'll try this and see how it goes. No, I mean the kind of decision that actually changes the direction that you're moving in. An expansive decision, something that's going to change the trajectory of your life. Not should I buy a Snickers? Should I get a mortgage? Like the big decisions, okay? Because there is that version of you we already know who already knows what they want. That version of you is right here. They know that. They know that they're done going back and forth. They're done going back and forth. They're tired of second guessing. They know they are capable of more. We know that. There's that version of you who's felt this way for a while, right? And then there's that part that hesitates. You're like, I'm ready to go. But you just don't go. And that part of you says, okay, but let me just think about this a little bit longer. I want to do it, but I just need to think about it a little longer. Maybe I need to talk to somebody about it. Maybe I need some third-party validation. Maybe I need to read some more. Maybe I need to read some more. I need to do some more research. I need to. Maybe I'll start next week. Maybe I should wait until I feel ready, until things feel ready. And that right there, that's the same pattern again, dressed up differently. That pattern shows up in almost everything you do at every and any given moment in your life. It's about the littlest decisions and the biggest decisions. You have a pattern, and it's up to you. You now recognize it, but to break free from that pattern, to choose something different, to create those new neural pathways. Okay? It's still delay, that pattern. It's still hesitation. It's still leaving the door open. It's leaving the door open in the event that it doesn't work out the way I wanted to, or you're just giving yourself an out. And we don't want that. So even if you're being invited into something that will actually support you, you still will respond in the same way. You still will respond in the same way you've been responding before. Okay, responding to everything else. You're going to pause. You're going to think of the reasons why you shouldn't do it, or instead of why you should, right? You can think about the reasons why you shouldn't do it instead of why you should. You're going to look for a cheaper way to get things done. Maybe you're going to try and DIY your way into some results. I'm going to take from this person and this person and this person and put these lessons and this lesson together and hope that something comes from it, right? You wait and tell yourself that you're being responsible because you're waiting, because you're not rushing to action. Maybe you just disappear. When you know that something costs you money, you all of a sudden disappear. Is that your pattern? That used to be mine. I was all in until somebody said, oh, there's a cost. Right? That was me. That was me. Okay? And then you wonder why things don't change. My mentor used to say to us all the time, people will not pay attention unless they pay. They will come into things for a moment. It will feel good for a moment. They will feel inspired for a moment, but there will be no long-term change because there's no investment. There's no investment. And the sad reality is he was right. And that breaks my heart because I used to be able to offer like scholarships to my programming, to my mentorship programming. And the ones who got the programming for free, who earned the scholarships, they were the ones who did nothing because they had nothing invested in it. And you wonder why things don't happen. Now, I want you to be honest for a second. How many times have you told yourself, I'm ready for more? I know I want more. I'm ready for more. But your actions didn't match. You just talk a good game, right? You know when they say, don't talk about it, be about it? I can count on hands, fingers, toes, ears, teeth. How many times have you said, I'm ready, I'm doing this no matter what? But then the moment in which you were inspired fades away, right? How many times have you said it? This is it. This is it. I'm doing this no matter what. And then you gave yourself an out a few hours later. It's common behavior. It's absolutely common. Sad, but it's common. And how many times have you had the opportunity to back yourself, to support yourself, and instead you went back into thinking mode? I'll think about it. I'll let you know. I don't know. How many times, right? How many times? This has to be where it changes. It has to be. Because at some point you have to stop treating your next level like it's something that you'll get to eventually. And you have to start treating it like it's something that you're choosing in this moment, something that you're choosing right now, okay? Not when it feels comfortable, not when you feel ready, not when it feels guaranteed, right? Because chances are it's never going to feel guaranteed. That feeling may never come. So then what? So you have to get into that moment and that feeling right now. Okay? Now tell me if you can feel the difference between these two energies. If you're really paying attention, you will. For this one, I want a yes or a no. Okay? I'm looking at the comments now. 2 phrases. I'll think about it. Yeah, I'm in. I'll think about it. Yeah, I'm in. Do you feel the difference in the energies there? Yes or no? Put it in the comments. Do you feel a difference between I'll think about it and yeah, I'm in? I'm in. Because one keeps you exactly where you are while the other one moves you immediately. Okay? The other one moves you immediately. And it's not because everything magically changes overnight. It's because you do. You've changed. You've chosen to change. You've decided that you're going to be different. And so the way that you show up changes, and the way that you decide changes, and the way that you respond changes. And everything starts organizing itself around that. Yes, says Kevin. Good. Everything starts organizing itself around that. And so if you've been sitting here for these 2 days, first of all, good for you. Okay? If you've been seeing yourself in everything that we've talked about, Chris said yes as well. Good. Good for you. If you've been seeing and realizing that you've been holding yourself back, maybe you know where you've been holding yourself back, and you're recognizing the patterns and the stories and the back and forth, then you already know. You already know. You don't need more time. You don't need more information. You don't need to make sure. You just need to decide. Okay? And before we go on any further, I do not offer scholarships anymore. Okay. You need to decide. I don't want you to make a half decision, not one where you say yes and you still keep the door open just to go out. You've got one foot out the door, right? No. A real decision where you fully back yourself. This is it. This is what I'm going for. This is who I decide to be. This is the life that I'm going to live. That's it. I'll be damned what's going on around me. That's it. This is my choice. I'm choosing it. I'm sticking by it. I'm sticking by myself. This is where you move forward, and you don't keep checking if you made the right move or not, because you've already decided that this is the right move. And so that's how you start becoming someone different. Okay? You don't start becoming someone different by waiting until you feel ready. Again, you may never feel ready. It's like when you become a parent. You think you're ready, but you're never ready. You're never ready, but you do it. You do it anyway, okay? It happens by deciding and then moving like it, acting like it, living from it, acting as if. So if you're ever ready to stop visiting this version of you and you're actually ready to live as that version, this is your moment, friend. This is it. Not tomorrow, not after this live event. Right now, this is your moment. You can make the choice and stick by it. And stick by it, and stick by it, and stick by it. And just so we're clear, there is absolutely a cost to waiting. There is absolutely a cost to waiting. What happens when you wait to pay your bills? You get interest, right? So you got to pay more. What happens when you wait to enroll in a program and the program fills up? Now you got to wait until what, next year? What happens when you order a birthday cake too late? You waited until the last minute to order a birthday cake and you got a party in 2 days, right? Now you have to pay a rush fee. There's a cost to waiting. What happens when you wait to step into the next version of you? The version of you that you know you want to. You pay the price of living and feeling and being exactly where you are right now. And this is a place that you no longer want to be. That cost is way too expensive. It's way too high. And so I want to show you exactly what this looks like when you step into it with the right kind of support behind you, okay? Because doing this by yourself and doing this in an environment that's designed for you to win are two completely different experiences, okay? So I want to talk about what this actually looks like. What it actually looks like when you're not doing it alone. Ooh, I was thirsty. Because everything we talked about over the last 2 days, you can absolutely go and apply it. You sure can. You can catch your patterns, and you can return to your decisions, which is good, and you can choose a new standard. That's great, and start living by it. I want that for you. That's what you should be doing. And for some of you, you will. Okay? For some of you, you will. For a few days. For a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks, okay? Let me not just limit you there. And then life is going to do what it does. And again, you're going to have a busy day and something unexpected is going to happen and you're going to get pulled into something else. And life is just going to life because this is our human experience. Obstacles happen all the time, right? Just because they say no weapon formed against me shall prosper doesn't mean that the weapons won't be formed. Things are going to happen, okay? So, and even without realizing it, you're going to start slipping back into the familiar way of operating little by little. It's like you have a bunch of candies here and a bunch of candies here, and you brought all the candies over into the new section. And little by little, you start taking the candies and putting it back into the old, dirty, dusty bag. And before you know it, there's nothing here. And so then you'll check. You'll check something and you're going to sit a little bit longer than you planned. Right? I'm just going to look up something online. All of a sudden, you've been scrolling for an hour and a half. Guilty. Okay? You're going to revisit a decision that you've already made. You're going to start thinking like, okay, what should I do now? What should I do now? And because there's no one there to catch you doing it, it just keeps going on and on and on. And then a few days later, a few days go by and you're like, why do I feel like I'm back here again? Why am I back in the same space? That's how it happens. It's so quiet, but it happens gradually, okay? And so this is the part that most people underestimate, because it's not the big breakdowns that take you out. It's not the big emotional, the big shit that happens that takes you out, for lack of a better term. It's the small returns to the old habits, repeated over time, taking and putting, taking and putting, taking and putting. So then the question becomes, what changes when you're in the right environment? Okay? Well, you don't drift like that. I don't mean in a harsh way, okay? Like drifting. I mean like, no one's like, hey, you need to stay here or anything like that. No. It's in a way that you're supported and where you're deciding to stay where you want to be, where you need to be. You have people who can hear how you're thinking when you're in the right environment, and they'll call it out immediately. Okay? Accountability. You have structure that keeps bringing you back to your standard. You have conversations that don't let you sit in old stories for too long. It's good. That's really, really good. So instead of going 3 days or 5 days or a week before you realize that you've slipped, you catch it in real time and then you can go back faster when you're in the right environment again and again until that new way of operating becomes normal. It becomes something so normal your nervous system accepts it and your subconscious accepts it, and you become the kind of person who acts from that. That's the difference when you're in the right environment versus trying to DIY this by yourself. And it's not that you're doing something completely different. No. You're just not doing it alone. Okay? You're just not doing it alone. You know the saying, if you want to do something, you do it, what is it? Do it on your own. If you want to do it big or you want to go far, you do it together. It's the same thing. It's absolutely the same thing. And so when you're doing it together, that shortens the time. Because now you're not just relying on willpower. You're not trying to remember everything in the moment. You're not going to remember everything in the moment. That's why you have people to bounce ideas off of. And so when you're in a space where this type of thinking, this way of thinking, this way of moving is normal, when you're in the right environment. And then so when something is normal around you, it becomes normal for you. I need this to be normal for you. And that's how it actually sticks. Okay? That's how you stop starting over and over again. So when I talk to you about the program Unlimited, our Millionaire Identity Program, I'm not talking about more information. You already have what you need to get started, okay? I'm talking about a space where you practice this at a level where it becomes who you are, where you're held to the version of you that you said you were ready for, because you said you were ready for it. That's why you're here. That's why you've been here for a couple days, okay? Where you don't disappear into old patterns for weeks at a time. where you build the kind of consistency that actually creates results. Because at the end of the day, that is what you want, isn't it? That is what you want. You don't just want another good day or another moment where you feel powerful. No, you want this to be your normal, your baseline, where your starting point. Okay? Your normal, your baseline, your starting point. When someone came to me and said, I wanted to be a millionaire, okay, cool. Is that your normal, your baseline, your starting point? Are you thinking as a millionaire, or are you going to start thinking as a hundredaire, or a person who has struggles with money, a person who can't get things the way they want them to be? No, we're going to change the way you're approaching life, and the stories that you're telling, and the beliefs that you have, and the identity that you have. It's the only way. So when I talk to you about the Millionaire Identity Program, that's what I'm talking to you about. You want to stick to your decisions, okay? You want your business to feel stable, even if you've had moderate success in your business. We know business has ebbs and flows. You want it to be stable and feel stable. You want money to feel consistent and not occasional, don't you? That's what this is about. So if you've been sitting here thinking, okay, I get it. I see it now. Shani, I'm ready to actually live this way. Then your next step is very, very simple. You just need to put yourself in the environment that supports that version of you. That's what you have to do. You have to stop thinking that you can do this in isolation. You need to be in a space where this is the standard, because that's what you're deserving of. You have to stop devaluing yourself. Stop disallowing what you want to come into your life. Okay? This is how people think. This is the place where people move in the way that you want them to move. This is the place where the new identity gets reinforced on a daily basis. And that's why we collapse time. So something that takes 5 years, you can make it happen in 1 year. Something that takes 10 years, you can make it happen in 5 years. Something that takes 1 year, you can make it happen in months. Because you're learning how to collapse time. And that's what it takes to get you from, I get it, to this is who I am now. Okay? So if you're in, you already know. I don't have to convince you. You don't need convincing. This is not something that you need to sit on, something that you need to ruminate on. This is just something that you step into, okay? And when you do, everything that we talked about here, it stops being something that you're trying to remember, and it starts being how you live, okay? So let's just bring this all the way together, because over these last 2 days, you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot, you've heard a lot, you've seen a lot, okay? You've seen how you've been operating. You have. You've seen the patterns that you keep repeating, whether you're successful or not, whatever success is to you, whether you've earned a lot or not, whether you've made a lot in business and then you've fallen down and you're trying to get your way back up. You've seen the patterns that you keep repeating. You've seen the stories that are quietly running in the background of your mind. You've seen that. And now you can't unsee it. You can't. And that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing, because now you have a choice. Okay? You can leave here and go back to your everyday life and tell yourself, that was really good. I needed that. I'm inspired. I'm ready to go. And then slowly fall back into what's familiar, as many, many people do. And you're not doing that on purpose, right? Like, it's just because nothing around you requires anything different. Or you can decide that this is the moment where things actually change. They change for you right now. Okay? Not in theory, but in actually how you live. And I want to be really honest with you here, okay? Change doesn't come from hearing something powerful. It doesn't. It comes from deciding, from you making the decision and then backing that decision. Backing it long enough for it to take hold. It's persistence. It's persistence. It's having the mindset of I will persist until ... Not I will try, not I will just keep going and then things get hard. Persisting until, okay? That's it. It's simple. It's not always easy, but it's simple, okay? And, well, you've already proven something to yourself just by being here, and I'm really excited for you, okay? You have proven that you are not someone who's okay with staying where you are, that you're not someone who is unaware. You now know where you're shining your spotlight. We talked about that yesterday. You're not someone who doesn't care. You absolutely do care. You absolutely do care. You are someone who sees more for yourself and recognizes that when you do well, you can impact others, not just in your family, but communities. You see that in yourself. You are a person who expects more, not just hopes for it, not just wants it. You expect more. The expectation is key. Okay? You know you are capable of more. Now, are you willing? Are you willing to do what it takes to be more? And not just be more, to have more, to do more, to live as more. Because at some point, that has to be matched with action. That has to be matched with action. So I'm going to invite you to make this really real. If you are done going in circles, living the same loop, the same year over and over again, if you're done knowing what to do, but not fully living it, if you're ready for your decisions to stick, for your business to feel consistent, for money to feel like it's something you can rely on, then unlimited is where you need to go next. Okay? This is the place where you take everything that you've seen here, and you practice it until it becomes second nature. Where you're surrounded by people who are doing the same thing as you, okay? Where you're supported and you're challenged and you're mentored and you're coached and you're brought back to your standard over and over and over again, so you don't drift, so you don't forget, so you don't go weeks operating in the way that keeps you stuck. You tighten the gap, you collapse the time. You tighten the gap between deciding and living it, between knowing and being it. Okay, there is quite the thing called the knowing doing gap. I think I'll do a training on that one day as well. But that's what we do inside of our academy, inside of our programming. And if that's something that you're ready for, then that is your next step. That is your next step. Not because you should, okay? Not because you should, but because you've already seen enough to know that what happens if you don't do anything, if you don't step forward, it's not something that you would love to live with, okay? So if you're in, I invite you to come join us inside of Unlimited. And let's get you to a place where this isn't something that you visit, it's just how you live, okay? So the link for enrollment will be put into the comments shortly. In fact, I'll put it in right now. There it is. It is now put into the comments, okay? The link for enrollments is right there. Okay. So before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with something very, very simple. Very, very simple. I don't want to give you any pressure, no overthinking, just the truth, okay? At this point, you already know what to do. Like I said, you don't need to be convinced. You don't need to be convinced. You've seen it. You've caught yourself in it. You know exactly where you go back. You know where you hesitate. You know where you leave the door open with one foot open, one foot out, and one foot trying to come in. You know where you hide, where you disappear. You know that. But you also now know what it looks like to move differently. And when you move differently, you get a different response, a different result. So this isn't about whether or not this works, because we know it does. We know it does. Okay? I have testimonials that will tell you that it does. This is about what you're going to do with it. Because from here, you really only have two options. You really, really only have two options, okay? You can leave and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to apply this. I'm going to apply this. I'm going to apply what I've learned. And maybe you do for a bit. But yet again, life is going to happen and things get busy and the old patterns start to present themselves and they start getting louder and louder again, like that damn saxophone, right? And you find yourself right back into that same cycle, back into that loop. And it's not because you failed, because you're not failing, but because nothing around you requires you to stay different. Or you can decide that you're done playing that life out. You're done living the same year over and over again. You're done not making more money than you make right now. You're done not being able to see the opportunity, take advantage of the opportunity, and change lives around the way. Do well so you can do good, right? You decide that the version of you who is sitting here listening and seeing themselves clearly, that version of you is the one that you're going to back. That version of you is the one that you're going to take a stand and live from, live with, live by, completely. And you put yourself in that kind of environment where the version of you is the standard, not the exception. That's where everything changes. That is the only place that it changes. You've got to make that decision. Okay? So if you're sitting here right now and you can feel it, that little voice, or maybe it's yelling at you, screaming at you, I don't know, but it's saying, yeah, it's time. It's time. Then I need you to trust it. I need you to trust the voice. Don't talk yourself out of it 5 minutes from now, as we often tend to do. Okay? Don't go into, okay, let me just think about it. You've done enough thinking. You've done enough thinking. You've done enough living the way you've been living to know that it's time for something else. So this is where you decide. This is it. And whatever you decide, own it. Own it. Make no excuses. Whatever you decide, own it. If you're in, great. Come and join us inside of Unlimited. If you're not, totally fine. Then commit to applying this fully on your own. Okay? But either way, make a decision. Make a decision. And don't leave this as another moment that felt good and then fades. Use it. Use it. That's how things actually change. Now, I've posted in the comments for those who want to understand more how Unlimited works, the ins and outs of it, a link so that you can book a consult call with me. You can book a free consult call. We'll talk for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so. It's a Zoom call, so I get to see your face. You get to see mine. We get to talk about what it is that you want to change, what it is that you want to experience, what it is that you need help working on. And we're going to take this and amplify it even more. Okay? Go ahead and book that call. You choose the time, you choose the dates that work for you. If you're ready to enroll, the enrollment link is there as well. So either way, it's up to you. Up to you. So I know that one way or another, I'm either going to see you on the inside of the program or I'm going to see you out there doing it for real. But I want to see you doing something. Doing something. It's time. And you're deserving. Okay? So I want to thank you so much. So much for spending these 2 days with us. I went over yesterday, so I'm cutting it a little bit short today. But you have a lot to think about. All right? Maybe you don't even have a lot to think about, but you have something to do. You have actions to take. Remember, whatever you choose to do from here on out is completely up to you. If you choose to move forward and take some action, great. If you choose not to, please do not feel bad about the decision that you've made. Okay? Recognize that this is just the choice that you've made to do nothing, but you cannot call yourself stuck. because now it's a choice. But regardless, take what you've learned today and apply it. Take what you've seen yesterday and recognize it. Call it out when it happens within you. You're even going to notice it in other people who are seeking validation all the time. Do something with it. Change your life for the better. You're so deserving. So, so, so deserving. So I'm going to leave you here. And I just, again, want to say thank you so much for being on this call these last 2 days, this live event. And go ahead and check out if you need to watch it on the replay, you can go watch the replay on YouTube, okay? On my name, Shani Leatham. So with all my love and my gratitude, I'm Shani Leatham. Take care. Bye-bye.